You're listening to So Book and Cool with Jewel B, and she had as a guest Mr. Jerald LeVon Hoover, which is me. So Book and Cool is So Book and Cool.
So booking, so booking, so booking. Cool.
There's so much fucking cool to listen to So Fucking Cool.
Welcome to So Booking Cool, it's Jewel B. Today's guest aspires to inspire young people globally and does just that as an award-winning author, educator, producer, motivational speaker, and sports journalist. He started the Hero Book series, which is celebrating 30 years in print because of his passion for instilling a love of literacy and community among youth. He has now released his debut picture book, A Basketball Hero is Born, illustrated by Afzal Khan. It is the prequel to the beloved character Bennett Wilson from the YA Hero series. Back with us today, he is Jerald LeVon Hoover. Stay tuned for our conversation only on So Booking Cool.
Jewel B, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you, okay? You believe in the following: learn something to know something to apply something to master something to teach. So do you remember when you developed that mentality, and why is it important?
I'll tell you where I was. I was at LIU teaching my sport management class, and I was at the board. For some reason, I don't know why it came to me that way, but I was teaching when it happened. And the premise of that was if you learn something and you're so good at it that you could teach it, then true application, mastery, and knowledge would be automatic. And I didn't even know about, I think it's a Jim Quick, young man that's a motivational speaker. I heard him say, so I'm gonna give him the credit for this. If you teach someone something, you learn twice. I think he got it from someone else, but I heard him say it. And you do. When you can learn something so much that you know it because it's yours, and you can teach someone how to do it, then your whole perspective changes. And then from there, I started to learn that if you want to get better at something individually yourself, show someone what it is that you already know. Just pass it on to someone, and your perspective just changes so quick on things. It's crazy. Now, of course, I wouldn't tell nobody to disclose the premise of the grace of a recipe if you're trying to patent it. I'm not saying be foolish or careless, but if you just want to get better at something, like just organically better, show someone what you have, show someone what you know, and you'll just get better. And I think when I was at the college level, speaking there, I think I was trying to instill brilliance in the students. Not that they didn't have it, but I would just so that they can just understand the essence of learning something and don't just take a test. Because I know we all fall victim to it. Well, most of us have, where you take a test just to get passed. But really, if you take the test, I'd rather a person get a 75, 80 on a test that they know 90% of because they just know it, and then the questions they got wrong, they understood why they got the questions. Maybe it was a multiple choice question that they knew the right answer, but they just picked the wrong one. You know what I mean? Then a person just gets a 95 and they guess half of it. You're not learning anything. You want to take what you've learned from applied knowledge that you can master and give it to someone, because that breeds confidence. That's one of the things too I was looking at to do. Give young men and women confidence that what they know, what they have, they can use it as a positive weapon. But I'm using the word weapon just as a metaphor, as a weapon against silliness, illiteracy, poor and bad habits, unemployment, and I'm talking about my family unemployment. I'm not talking about you get laid off. I'm talking about people that just don't have a skill to do anything. Those things, because it could destroy a person. And so my thinking is, if young people would learn to put something up here that it will arm them to where they can win this arms race, you know, especially people of color, because it's serious out here.
I love that. You dropped a lot of gems. Do you feel like when it comes to students and their education that it should be made interesting to them in order for them to want to learn?
If it's not going to enable them. You know, I mean, let's be honest, Jewel. How many medicines taste good? All right, okay. If a grown-up takes Vicks 44D candy version, you know, like the kids get, then chances are it ain't gonna be good for the body. And you know, especially with a big old strong grown man and everything, it ain't gonna be good for the body. It won't be powerful enough. So with that, sometimes you got to just go through the paces of it's unpleasant, but it's going to be beneficial to me. I'll get another example. If a true athlete is working out to get to the next level, he or she really wants to get to that next level, their workouts aren't going to be pleasant. I mean, heck, they might even get mad at the trainer or the coach because it's like, yo, this is too hard. I mean, you give me too much, but you running up hills, you doing stairs, you doing push-ups, you doing jumping jacks, you're doing sit-ups and push-ups. I mean, you're doing all kinds of stuff. Your body's sore and everything else, but you're getting that endurance. And then 3 or 4 months down the line, you find you're in the best shape of your life. It's like, wow, I could take on the world now. So when you say making it interesting, sure, you should be interested in learning, but I can't just, you know, put on a dog and pony show to make you learn something. Because in the real world, it ain't gonna happen like that. You know what I mean? You may have a job where things is hitting the fan or what have you, or things are this, that, and the third, and you got to just figure things out. Like, okay, team or individual, whatever, make this work. So everything can't be like you're playing a video game in order for them to learn, because like we're probably the only country that does that like that. You know what I mean? And we can't keep doing that. I mean, we went from education-wise, we was like at one point, I remember we was in the top 3. I can't remember, I think it might have been China. Can't remember what it was 2, but I know we're hovering around 3rd. We're like 38, 39 somewhere. We've dropped. There was a precipitous drop. I mean, it's just like a stone, boom. We haven't dropped. So I mean, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So the interest should be, you should be interested in learning. But as far as me having to put all these bells and whistles for you to stay connected, be learned, I mean, we're not, what are we raising? You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, especially people of color, wouldn't even be able to get a job in a supermarket.
Yeah, you know, you have cared about the youth for a long time. So what other ways can people show that they care for the youth and really help them out? Is educating them the best way to do that?
Well, see, education is broad too, because you can book and form someone with education. You can give them life lessons in education about the do's and don'ts of things, and then you can show them what common sense is. You know what I mean? And I think the byproduct of all of that will have to be love for humankind. You know what I mean? And I think if love is there, then all those other things that I kind of mentioned will sort of introduce itself. And I think it will be tailored toward the individual. You know, because you may have a person that's book smart but doesn't have a lot of common sense, so they keep walking into the same brick wall. I say it's like that wall ain't gonna move. You know, you may have to take 2 steps ahead or 2 steps to the side, then make that turn, because that wall ain't going nowhere. You've seen that and you hit it 5 times already. That wall ain't going nowhere. So, you know, so a lot of times you may have to give them, you know, the mother and father wisdom if you would. So I think that's tailored toward the person or the crowd. But I think if love is there, love and care and a fear of us being extinct, you know, I think when you have that sort of thing, you'll find a way to give them the education, again, it's broad, that they need. And one thing about it, and I've told single mothers this before, especially when you're dealing with boys, they hear you. They got ears and the ears are working. they hear. The listening sometimes comes when what you say is verified, and it'll be verified by a person that you don't know, or you may know them, but they told your son the same thing you said, but it was independent of what you said. You know what I mean? It was like, wow, mom, dad, so-and-so said the same thing you've been saying. Duh. I mean, hello. And so a lot of times when, kids think, oh, my mom is smart, or my dad is smart, or, they do, or they are kind of, or even if you're not saying they're cool, you're saying they're bright because they've been there before. Then you start to win a little bit. You know what I mean? You start to win a little bit in terms of being able to tell things. And I say that from experience because that happened with my son. I was telling him certain things and he was, yeah, I hear you that, I hear you that. But the listening came when his coach said the same exact thing I said. Maybe even better. He may have used a couple of words in there that I don't use. Who knows? But he basically the same thing I said. Then was like, okay, Dad, my dad does know what you're talking about. Hello. You know what I mean? And then once we got to that point and the trust was there, then it was like, and the one thing I do remember saying this, and I got this from an older cousin of mine. I'm not going to give you bad advice on purpose. I might not tell you everything that's 100% right because I'm human, but I'm not going to give you bad advice on purpose. I'm not going to hear a train coming and tell you, hey man, cross the tracks, just go fast. Cross the tracks, but just run fast. No, I'm going to say, don't do that. Wait until we don't hear anything. You know what I mean? Then matter of fact, don't even cross, go to the stairs and do that, go a different way. So I'm not gonna give you bad advice on purpose. That's something that's gonna try to hurt you. And I feel good about that when I know that I'm not gonna try to get somebody bad advice on purpose, that I know my heart's in the right place.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're also a playwright. So when did you get the idea to create the Hero book series and then take it from like the stage into book form?
Well, matter of fact, you probably didn't notice, but it's actually in screenwriter form. So it's actually going to be ready to become a movie soon. It's waiting on a few elements to happen.
Yeah.
Now, from the movie version, I thought about a play version. Okay, I'm thinking about that because there are a lot of schools that have drama departments. Now, of course, I eventually want to do something on Broadway or off Broadway in New York. Sure, I do. But my thinking is, okay, My Friend, My Hero, which turns 30 years old, actually today, November 2nd. I got my first copies in the mail, November 3rd, 1992.
Wow.
No, November 2nd. I'm sorry, November 2nd.
Okay.
1992. November 2nd, 1992. 30 years ago. My Friend, My Hero is now 30 years old. So I'm going to be doing a kickoff celebration or some stuff. Stay tuned, it's coming. But it's amazing because My Friend, My Hero took 8 years to get published. 8 years. I was rejected 42 times over an 8-year period, and it's going to celebrate 30 years now, this month. I believe in God in a big way. And vision he gave me, it's now, with respect to your question, screenplay form, stage play form, because my thinking is, if I can get into the drama department of schools, they can go over a lot of different elements of this play. They change it around, that's fine. But what I'm trying to do is I'm gonna have it so that it's available for download. And it won't be free. I'm gonna pay for that. But now, if a school decides to have a production of My Friend, My Hero, and you sell them tickets, that money's yours. We'll sign a waiver. You download it. You're gonna pay some money to download it. Okay, so you're gonna give me some money, but because it's a business. But you take it, do what you got to do with it. Just put my name on it as played by. You know what I mean? We're gonna do it like that. So and also too, Joe. It also helps them the Hero book series brand, because My Friend, My Hero screenplay, book, stage play. Then I'm even gonna do it as this: a stage play, and then a stage play musical. So I'm gonna have both. stage play and stage play musical. So it depends on the school or the entity. You want to have music behind it, singing behind it. I'm gonna provide. We gonna be doing some real serious stuff with that, and that's fun. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and you mentioned business within what you were just saying. So where does this come from? Like, is it fueled by your creativity, or is it fueled also by like a business mindset?
Creativity and heart, because I had to learn how to make money. And no, I'm sorry, I had to learn how to make money and not feel bad charging. Right? Because a lot of times you'll find artists that get caught up in the art, and which is a serious thing. You get caught up in the creativity, the art. I gotta get this out there. Let me do what I'm doing. And then sometimes you forget that you're doing this to eat. You know what I mean? You're doing this to pay bills. You're doing this to get life done better for yourself. And to be honest with you, I'm glad I thought that way, because that sustained me when I was getting rejected. That sustained me when I was going through whatever I was going through. Because if I was only thinking about money, I'd have burnt myself out. There's no way in the world I'm doing this 38, almost 39 years if I didn't have the love for the art of it, knowing that what I was blessed with can either evoke change, inspire change, or at least have people talking about change because of what I wrote about. And it's funny, the elements that's in My Friend, My Hero, even though it was started in 1983, almost 40 years ago, are happening now, like on a regular basis. Pick a subject. It's happening now, like with veracity. I mean, it's just there. And so when I was download spiritually to write what I was writing and to do what I was doing, the love of the art had to be there more than anything. Because if I was just thinking about dollar signs, especially when money wasn't coming, I'd have just been burnt out. I said, forget it. So the love of art and the love of humanity and getting the message out to help people sustained me. So, but with that, I had to learn how to become a businessman. I never forget a lady, Julia Rivers Jones. She's like my business mama. She was a principal of a school. Well, she worked with a program, Felson Academy, enrichment program that they had over in the Bronx. And I remember she made me think higher than I was thinking, because I was charging money to come speak and do something, but she was like, you're charging too little. Now I'm talking to a principal. I'm talking to a person who can say, get out of here. No. She's like, you're charging too little for what you do. And I'm like, well, less is more. Charge this. And she had to make me feel good about that. So I did what I did. And so I felt, when the money came, I felt really good. But then I went somewhere and fell into the same thing, a school in Yonkers. I went, I gave them my price, which I thought was a good price. And then I was scared that was gonna be a little too much, but I still made that leap a little bit. I went to the school and crushed it. Jewel, crushed it. Crushed it. I got a phone call back. And it just was crazy. I got a phone call and they said, Mr. Hoover, did you submit your I said, your invoice? And I said, yes, ma'am. Yeah. Well, you got to change it. And now I'm thinking, oh man, I charged too much. I'm like, oh man, what I do? I okay, money. She said, we're gonna rip that one up. We want to give you the maximum of what we can give you for that particular session.
Wow.
It was almost double what I did. It wasn't quite double, but it was a lot more. It was money. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, who? Then I said, okay, Julia Rivers Jones, you was right. But the thing is, what I do find solace in is that when I get behind the white line, so to speak, I don't look at the money that I'm going to make for that particular position. I'm gonna give what I got. One thing I learned, I don't worry about the crowd. If it's 3 people, if it's 30 people, 300 people, I don't worry about the crowd. I'm going to give you the same intensity. I'm not gonna, in other words, I'm not gonna hold back
Mm-hmm.
on something because it's not a big crowd. Now I'm gonna go strong, because at the end of the day, when people say, well, if I can only help one, okay, that one might be a part of the three that you got there. Now you add 297 more people there, we had 300. None of them might be affected by that one that you were talking to. As far as if you're gonna say that, well, if you affect one, you good. No, I think like that, but my thinking is I want to affect you all. So I'm gonna give you the same amount of intensity no matter how many people I have in there. And so when I think like that, if I'm thinking like level up, then regardless of what you're paying me, crowd size, whatever, I'm gonna give you what I got. And then another thing too, you may have 3 or 4 people in your audience talking, but 2 of them could be principals. One could be a teacher. One could be married to a superintendent of a school district. And all of a sudden, my husband works with someone, so he would love this thing. I mean, and all of a sudden, you went from 3 people to 30 schools. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
when it comes down to putting your numbers out there, put your numbers out there. You know what I mean? Do your numbers. So don't hold back on worrying about a crowd, worrying about that, because you never know who that one person might be in that audience that can take you to a place that you've never been before.
That's powerful. Did you get to tell your business mentor about that moment when you did so good that they were like, no, he deserves more?
I didn't tell her that yet. But yeah, you mentioned it. I spoke to her when I sent out the link to my children's book, and of course she congratulated me and everything. She was telling me that the Filson thing is ending this year, no, 2023, and that she wants me to come speak. I'm like, I'll be on it. So I'm gonna call her and tell her, and she's gonna be like, I ain't surprised, baby. It'll be like that. But when she told me that, that was because I went to her again even after when she was the principal, and I charged, and she's happy to pay it. She was like, here. And then she was even sending me other schools, like, here, do this. And so she made me think level up. And like I said, sometimes, and then I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes it could be the PTSD of being a Black man, thinking that not so much you're not worth it, but you're scared that you're gonna insult someone if you put a certain thing out there and then you blow it. And I had to get over that. I had to get over that. It's not about charging too much, but I had to get over it. Because when I can go somewhere and teachers are inspired by what I say, principals are inspired by what I say, or when I leave that school, they're playing the video or or pictures like throughout the whole school on television monitors, you better charge them some money. You know what I mean? You better, and I'm not saying you gotta break that bank, but your worth is your worth. You know what I mean? Your worth is your worth. And if they can't afford you, if they really want you, they'll find a way. That's the one thing I learned too. If they really want you, they'll find a way to afford you.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the Hero book series, when did you get the idea to adapt it into a picture book?
I gotta admit, I had a conversation with an older sister of mine named Lisa Benton. And she was like, you have to, take more consideration with the young crowd, and you always got the big crowd, but don't worry about the too much. And she didn't say don't worry about them, but she was like, concentrate on this. And I'm like, at first I took it the wrong way. I'm like, that's a problem. We don't take too much time with big kids, that we lose them. And she was like, no, I'm not saying that, but young kids can use what you have. And I was like, what am I right about? So I didn't dismiss it, but I put it on the shelf. Then I go somewhere else in Austin, a good friend of mine named Kimmy Paul, who has a very nice program up in Austin, Home Run Against Drugs. And we're talking, and she's like, I can get you in front of superintendents, and if you got children's books. And I'm like, what? I can get you more play. You're doing something now, but I can get you even more if you were doing some stuff with children. And I'm like, that doggone Lisa. So I thought about it, and then the fun part was, okay, what am I gonna write about? Then it came to me, I say, thank you, Lord, for that, for the vision. Your characters had to be born. So my friend, my hero, he was my hero too. A hopeful hero and hoop hero, which will be out next year. Those characters are they're teenagers, but they had to be born. You don't give reference to or give respect to when they were born. Now I did do this, and A Hopeful Hero, which is the third book of the hero series for the YA.
Mm-hmm.
I do a prequel of when those kids were 8 years old, 12 years old. So I do some stuff and I dodge in and out of that. I did do that. But it was for a scene here, a scene there, in the book, which I thought was good because I gave some context of Bennett's life before My Friend, My Hero. And I'm proud of that. I love that. Now, when you're talking about them being born, okay, how'd they actually meet? Bennett and Kirby. Was there a father around? So there's so many elements now that I'm able to put into the youth, the children's series that were not in the big series. So now I said, okay, wait, okay, now so I can bring Bennett as a birth kid, Kirby, birth kid, bring them up. And then from there, Jewel, the floodgates open. Yeah, now the issue is this. You want to go from K, if you would, to 12. So you want to do something for the pre-kindergarten area. You want to do something for, say, first and second grade. You want to do something like, say, third and fourth grade, and fifth and sixth grade. So now I have 4 books that I'm going to use to level up. I got A Basketball Hero's Born, A Hero's Pride and Joy, A Hero's Shot, and A Hero's Perspective. That's the working title. But we're looking at pre-K to K, first, second grade, third to fourth, fifth to sixth. After fifth and sixth grade, then My Friend, My Hero could be picked up from sixth grade on up. But even fifth grade depends on reading level. So you see, you can go from K all the way to 12, but now, particularly young black boys, okay, or young boys of color, if you would, they can have something to grow up with. So now I have those 4 books that I just mentioned cheering up. Then I'm going to spread them across. So I'll keep books in the same age range for A Basketball Hero's Born, A Hero's Pride and Joy, The Hero's Shot, and Hero's Perspective. So I can move across so that I can go 4 or 5 deep this way, 4 or 5 deep this way, 4 or 5 deep this way, 2 or 3, whatever I want to go. But so it'll be like a pyramid, or I'm more like not the pyramid, like an Eiffel Tower. If I'm not right, yeah, it goes like this and then it shoots up like that, something like that. So it'll be on those lines. But the objective is young boys of color and girls. It's about girls too, I promise you. There's a lot of girl stuff in there. They can read the books and grow up with them. And each book will have the word hero in the title. That's why it's called the Hero Book Series. And what I love about that is that when people look at the books, you're not going to see one person with a cape on, or a mask on, or a uniform on, not necessarily a basketball uniform. In other words, they're going to be regular folk from the neighborhood and the community that are doing stuff that makes them heroes, making right choices, govern themselves accordingly, if they were, making mistakes and redeeming themselves from it, or being redeemed because somebody helped them. So when you talk about heroes, you're talking about people that's just living life as best as they can. And that's where I'm looking at as far as heroes. So hero book series. So it's a concept. And I do like the fact that it's coming from a man of color, black man. Because a lot of times you think heroes, you think about somebody on TV. I mean, heroes can go a long way, but how many people are looking at themselves as heroes for the black community? Not a lot. So not necessarily through arrogance because they play a sport or they rap or they do something from an entertainment standpoint. That's heroic in itself, but that's not the only deed of being heroic. And that is what people have to understand. I can go to school, go to work, get a degree, get a trade certificate, get whatever, and handle my business. That's heroic. And so it's a good text that says a man, what a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So If you think good about yourself, you speak good about yourself, you'll do good. If you think bad thoughts, downtrodden thoughts, speak that way, chances are you're gonna follow what you say. So the objective is, again, to get people to speak life, think lively thoughts or what have you, and to do things that's gonna help the community, as opposed to hearing and reading about young boys of color just shooting themselves like they're playing a video game. Enough of that. That's not gonna help anybody's life. Just seeing about these young boys dying like that anyway. Because one fear of mine is I have a grandbaby that's 2 years old, that when she's ready to get married, she won't see any men. Not enough. Not enough. So, there's a lot of work to do. And literacy is one of those things that it's almost a forgotten piece of life. Sometimes I don't get big responses on social media about writing stuff when I post, because I'm a black man putting out a book by black people. But it's not a black book. It's just I'm sharing an experience, doing literature, doing the spoken word, written word. So I had to think, why is this not? Because it's foreign. It's foreign. Now I'm not putting this on black people only, but there's this thing. There's a either a saying or there's a mechanism out, I would say, that says that's saying that most CEOs read 50 to 60 books a year, and most employees read 2. Now, I didn't say black or white. Didn't say that. So I might put that in that category. But when you hear stuff like, if you want to hear something, if you want to hide something from a black man put in the book, or stuff like that, or you are hearing things about test scores in the 3rd and 4th grade determining how many jail cells they want to build. Boys of color graduating high school with 3rd and 4th grade reading level, if that. People can't write a sentence correctly without abbreviating a word, especially the word you. Don't know where to put a comma, don't know where to put a period, start sentences off with lowercase letters, don't put periods at the end. That's serious. That's dangerously serious. Because if you can't fill out an application, I forgot about this one. They took out penmanship in schools. So cursive writing, what is that? So you get an 18, 19-year-old kid, tell them to sign their name. How are they gonna sign their name? They can't write script, write cursive. Then they can't even read it. So how are they gonna find a job if you're 18 years old and you got to file an application? Or if you have a job where you have to write an essay. Because some jobs require that. Why do you want this job? So you basically are separating those who can, those who can't. So it's easy to just figure that out, let alone a name. You get a name like Hakima or Shaquina and Shaquita and all that kind of stuff. They know where you're coming from. They look at your address, they can just, we're gonna discard that. But even if you have a name, whatever, but don't let that define you. And too many people don't want to read, don't want to do certain things. It's like you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself. And when you also heard, I read this nugget last year. No, it was this year, I believe. It was this year. They said that 85% of the youth that are in the penal system that's incarcerated or on their way to being incarcerated, 85% of them are functionally illiterate. It's like you let that sink in for a little bit. 85%, Joe, of the young men and the young women in the penal system are functionally illiterate. Mayor Adams, when he first took the seat, you might remember he said this. He had said that 50% of the young men in Rikers are functionally illiterate. What does that tell you? I mean, literally, what does that tell you? If you can't read and write and process information correctly, and you can't put things together in words, like how do you go from point A to point B? How do you know what point A to point B is?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know what it is? So, but yet you'll be reactionary, and you just do things on a whim, or you get frustrated because you can't get from one place to another, so you take it on someone else. That's too much. There's too much, and I'm like, you can't, that can't be a poison pill for us forever. It can't be. And I'm not trying to necessarily champion the cause for certain things, but I'm just like, but if I am, because enough. You know, last thing on this, I don't have a problem with any religion, any nationality, any race. I'm good with everybody doing it, because I believe every race contributes something positive to society. Every race, whether it's food, whether it's a talent. I mean, I believe you contribute to the fishbowl of society, if you would. But when African Americans or blacks, if you would, what people of color, however you want to phrase this, don't even have a neighborhood. No, I'm sorry, have a neighborhood, don't even have a community. And we have a neighborhood, we can live in a certain area. But as far as the community is concerned, you go in the store, here, you ain't seeing your people up in there on the stores. Or if it is a store, it ain't well stocked with food. It ain't a thriving business. And in some cases, unfortunately, they got something going on in the back to make whatever. But yet, now I give them credit for it, because it is ingenious. If you're in Bronx or certain parts of Queens, or even Manhattan, and you go into any supermarket, Seatown, Food, Bazaar, Cherry Valley, you walk in there, it's Hispanic owned. Hispanic owned, and operated. From the owner to the cashier, who, I'm speaking in broken English, who don't got a speck of English in her voice. Can't speak English the first. No English. They can count money. Stock boy. No English. But they know how to do their business. So the chances of a black young man going in that store to ask for a job, 0 to 0. Chances of a sister going to the they get a job as a cashier and get one, 0 to 0. Ain't no EOE stuff over there. Ain't no affirmative action stuff over there. Ain't no equal opportunity over there. That's Hispanic owned and operated fully. Bam. That's it. So that takes away a lot of stuff right there. And supermarkets are thriving businesses. Thriving. And I give them credit for this. It can be in the worst neighborhoods. You walk in that supermarket, it don't smell. They're well stocked. You can practically eat off the floor. And it's well run. They coined that market. My West Indian brothers, certain parts of the Bronx, from Gun Hill Road, White Plains Road, White Plains Road, you take Gun Hill, which goes, say, east-west, and then you got White Plains that goes north-south. From, say, Gun Hill Road all the way to 41st Street. Jamaican brethren, they got that on lock. At least 70% of the stores there, merchant-wise, are Jamaican, right? But that's the only spot that I know that's thriving in that way. But blacks don't even have that. Chinese restaurant is in every neighborhood in the country. Every neighborhood has a Chinese restaurant. Even a Jewish neighborhood has a Chinese restaurant. It is just a Chinese restaurant is in every single neighborhood in this. Now, and there's levels to it now. You got levels of Chinese restaurant where you can go sit inside with a waiter, nice. Where you go in and walk into the thing, and the carry out. Either way, it's going to be one there that's thriving. So when you talk about literacy, processing information, being able to research, teaching, learning, exploring, and growing, yeah, we got a long way to go. So the passion is there. And, you know, I got to do this until the day I die. I think this is a lot that's on me. I'm not corporate American material. I can do corporate America, but I'll sit that desk and just burn up, knowing that I can do more with my talents. Now, if I can work in corporate America, but there's gonna be plenty of days where I ain't coming in. Because I'll be in schools. I'll be in schools just sharing what I can share to help young people just get better. Gotta get out of this fire.
With your talents and your heart and your passion for helping the youth, how have young people responded to your literature, and how did the students respond to you when you tell them this stuff about how important literacy is?
A lot of them, of course, you don't know. So a lot of them didn't realize certain things. A lot of them, the ones I love are the converted ones. When I mean by converted, I'm talking about those that don't like reading. I'm not much of a reader. Or the parents even say they're not much of a reader. But when they start reading My Friend, My Hero, they're hooked. They're hooked. They see themselves. Now, of course, I use basketball and different things like that shit, but they're hooked. Then they're able to talk about things and like, man, writing is cool, but reading is cool. Yeah, it is cool. Feeding the brain is always cool. It doesn't matter if you're doing it to the brain. Working out to get better is always good. Doing it is hard if you haven't done it in a long time. But once you do it and you get over the soreness of a new exercise, your body starts to say, dude, or sister, I like this. Give me some more. So I get a lot of positive stuff, and it ain't always good kids from good neighborhoods. Sometimes it's our brothers from the hood, and they give me the respect of, yeah, man, that's Mr. Louis, a writer, or I get a lot. I never met a writer before, as if I'm an alien, but I get it. You know what I mean? I understand, but yeah, I think those are the things that just keep me going, and those are the things that keep me from, by the grace of God, not even afraid to go into certain neighborhoods. I have to go tell my story, and when I go, I don't dress like this. I'm suit and tie. It's not to look different, but this is my uniform. A fireman wears a fireman suit to put out a fire. A policeman now that he's undercover, is wearing a doctor. You know what he's wearing. A doctor ain't performing surgery in the Egyptian, not unless it was an emergency. But we talking about somebody that works in the hospital. You wearing a doctor's uniform. That's my uniform. My suit and tie. When I'm going into those white lines, talk to my babies in there, I'm wearing the uniform. I'm a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm an artist. And that's what I give you. And so if I can inspire somebody, okay, I want to do that, do it, but do it better. It ain't gonna hurt me none. If you do something I do, my son, I believe, is 10 times smarter than me. I put something in for him to do it. He got 3 degrees. 3. I just told him I want him to get 1. He only got 3 on his own. He ain't do it because Dad told him to do it. He just pressed the gas. So you think I'm jealous? I'm ecstatic. So if I'm able to give you something and you do it better than me, or you go further than me in life, right? We good. I'm not gonna lose my blessing. Not a bit. Not a bit. I ain't gonna lose my blessing. I'm feeding somebody that's gonna do something well, good in life. I'm gonna lose a blessing. Nope. I ain't gonna miss a meal. I ain't gonna lose a blessing, and other doors will open up for me. And not only that, they won't just open up for me, they'll open up for people in my family. That's the way I learned about paying it forward. You don't just bless yourself, you're blessing your family. I got a grandbaby. So, and it's funny too. I haven't met one teacher that had children, and the children wasn't brilliant on some level. I haven't met one, and may have been something that may have had the child may have had a condition mentally. That's different. That's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just regular children, just, healthy mind, body, and soul, if you would, that the child wasn't brilliant. And why I think that is because if a teacher is taking time with babies that aren't theirs, and they're there 8 hours, 9 hours a day, bringing home lesson plans, correcting tests, because you ain't doing everything at work. People got to bring that work with you. That's one job that you got to bring work with you. And you doing all this and still raising a family, that blessing got to fall on the kids. Because you in there and you're a teacher teaching 100 kids a week. 100 kids a day. You know how many classes you got? You don't get blessed for that? Can't be serious. No, you get blessed for that. You getting blessed for that. So I look at that as, there's a lot to that. Being a teacher and instructor and stuff like that, them kids, they benefit from it.
This is your wonderful book that everyone needs to check out, A Basketball Hero is Born. When you see this wonderful book, what is going through your mind?
When I see that, I just see, how did I do that? You know what I mean? And I don't know. You know what? It was funny that these books here are helping me with the fourth book, which is the closeout of the YA series, because it's so much that is uncovered, so much that's in there, so much that can be put in there, and it just, I don't know, it just opens up the pores of my brain, if you would, to say, wow, you have a movement here that starts with that one there, even though it's a prequel, and a prequel that can go, when you say something is born, you know what I mean? That's when it's first hatched, what have you. Even though other books were before that, but just know that here's where Bennett's life takes shape and what put him in that way. And the fact that he loves basketball, which keeps him happy to do what he does. And I don't know, it just does a lot, because 38 years ago, I first started writing this book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, no, 39. It was 83. To think that I'll be doing this now, talking to you and doing this, it's mind-boggling. But I really believe that it's a lesson for us all. If you plant something in fallow soil, it has no choice but to grow. It has no choice. And you put something in fallow soil, you sow a seed in fallow ground, forget it. It's going to do what it's do, and it's going to do more of it. It's going to do a lot. And so a lot of good things come to me with that. And if I read that, it's funny, I'm gonna make corrections in it. That's what I do. I'm gonna make corrections in it. I'm gonna say, oh, let me do this. I'm not gonna change the story, but I'm gonna always tweak it. I'm a perfectionist with that. And so, it's a cool thing. I'm getting into picture books, which is all right. It's really cool. Really cool.
I love that for you. And last question too.
Sure.
What is the best quality in an author?
Having an ear. And what I mean by that is, okay, I'm a male, okay? Now, I have female characters too. Old ladies, old men, white ladies, white men, white kids. But I'm Black. What would they say in this situation? In this situation, would that person say this? Would that character say this? Would that character go out of character to do that? So, realistic expectations, well, that's from a different perspective. A real sense of who your characters are is the best quality, because that way you can manipulate the way you want. Now, I take pride in this, that I know with my female hero, and I did this on purpose, there's parts of that story that I can make you cry, I can make you upset, I can make you fall into suspense, if you would. I can make you fall in love with the character. I can make you hate a character. I can make you laugh. And I did that on purpose. And I'm gonna tell you how I learned that. or how it came to me. Because when I was writing, I used to listen to music really light, you know, and I would listen to a soundtrack or an album or something that had plenty of songs that I didn't have to go and rewind, all that kind of stuff that'll play. I would notice, Jewel, that some songs did that. Some songs were happy songs, some songs were somber songs, some songs were thinking songs, some songs were get up and dance songs, and that was all in one album or one track, one tape track. And I'm like, if you could do that with music, you should be able to do that with a book. And so that's when I learned, I take it as a metaphor, but that's when I learned the art of manipulation. That's what I don't use that word literally, but figuratively speaking, we'll say. Right. I use the art of manipulation by make somebody do this, make somebody do that, make somebody do that, make somebody do that. And I'm gonna tell you, by me putting the intensity in that, there were certain things that superseded my expectation. Now, the crying part, I was there. I knew that. But no, I'll say this. When I was told, don't know the guy's name, but there was a guy that was reading my book. He was like 6'7", 250. He was a big boy. He was a big dude. And he got missy at the end. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? When I found out a big old hunk of a man mountain, read the book and got touched, I was like, yeah, buddy, you did that thing right. So I didn't expect that, but I do expect certain reactions, but sometimes the reactions they supersede what I did. I mean, what I intended. And I was like, okay, well, you did it right. But like I said, by me having an ear toward what a person would say and do makes it easier for me to write. And so the dialogue part is like the easiest part for me. The narrative description, not a challenge, but I used to fall into a thing where I would tell and not show. Once I learned how to show, then I got better as a writer. But I went through certain phases and stages, and I love it. But I think, to answer your question, I think having an ear helps a writer. You know what? To be honest with you, anybody can write. You got to put a pen. And know this too. Writing doesn't come from the hand. Writing comes through the hand. But this doesn't make a writer. It was a writer. I can't remember her name. I should have recorded it. Should have got it. I remember there was a lady who wrote her books with her feet because she didn't have arms. And she was married. I remember seeing the picture of her. She was changing a diaper with her feet. She was driving a car with her feet. So if she was doing, I was a white one. If she was doing that, that's going to tell you that writing has nothing to do with your hands. It comes through your hand because it's a source. But writing comes from your head and your heart. Anybody on this planet can write a life story. Anybody. And if you can put words on paper, you can write it. How good you're going to be. Like, for instance, okay, basketball. Got millions and millions and millions of people who play basketball every day. Everybody ain't going to be LeBron James. Everybody's not going to be an NBA ball player. Everybody's not going to go to college. But doesn't mean you can't enjoy the sport and do as well as you can with it. So with writing, then definitely everybody can read or should read. It's just a matter of how good you are, how good you want to be, and how open your ears are. Because I'm telling you, if you have an ear, you can write anything, because having that ear gives you that sort of inner voice and allows you to do things. And then actually what happens with writing, there are layers to it, because let's say I wrote something and you edited it, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, now I can agree with it, not agree with it, but if it's a right wound, like I didn't put a comma somewhere, I didn't do this, I didn't fine. But if you telling me, like you editing it and then you say this character needs this, you need that, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna fix that. Then I'm allowing myself to be humble enough to take your suggestion and attack it. Oh, then my ear and my writing intellect kick in. Now I'm like, okay, now I'm blasting. Now everybody might not be able to do that. The same way, everybody that plays basketball won't be able to dunk because you can't reach that high, or you can't shoot a 3-pointer because you can't shoot that well. But you can still write, you can still do things. It's just a matter of how powerful you are with your gift, your talent, and where you want to make it, where you want to take it. But everybody can write, and everybody should write, whether it's a memoir, a diary, or journal. I mean, everybody should exercise that gift. It doesn't matter whether you get published because you have an interesting story that you can market.
And on that note, Jerald LeVon Hoover is the author. He came back to So Booking Cool. And I'm so glad that you came back, and loved speaking with you. Honestly, could like keep the conversation going and going and just let everyone know how they can keep up with you and get the book and all the wonderful work that you're doing.
Sure. I have a website. The website is and you got to put the word THE is part of it, theherobookseries.com. That's a website that you can find my books and everything on there. I'm on Twitter, The Hero Book Series. That's a Twitter handle. Also have one, Hero Books and Sport. I'm on LinkedIn, Jerald with a J, Jerald. I'm on Facebook.
Would you do TikTok?
No, but I fool with it. I watch it at the time. If I want to laugh or get distracted for a few minutes, I watch that stuff. That stuff, some of the stuff is hilarious. I mean, I look at funny stuff. I don't look at anything crazy. But I haven't done TikTok. Oh, I'm on IG too, on Instagram. I have 2 accounts on IG. I have an author page as a public figure, and I have one where I do more family stuff. You can follow me on both. That's not a problem. But yeah, I haven't done TikTok yet. I may give it a shot.
Yeah, especially when you have the young students, you know, like taking on the roles of the Hero Book Series and stuff like that.
That's we're gonna be TikToking and ticking too. So yeah, oh no doubt. Yeah, when we start doing that thing, it's gonna I would say this time next year, the movie part should be done. If everything falls into place the way I can see it, and I'm gonna speak into existence. This time next year, the movie portion will be done. Mm-hmm. So will my documentary 4 Square Miles to Glory. That's gonna be up done too. So I'll be able to get them both.
Hey, yeah. What documentary is that?
It's called 4 Square Miles to Glory, and it is the history of Mount Vernon basketball, which had about 10 NBA ball players from a tiny small town, Mount Vernon, New York, which is where my book takes place. My book series takes place in Mount Vernon. So I give Mount Vernon a lot of love.
Yes, you rep your hometown. Well, yeah. Oh my God, that's congratulations on everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I keep busy.
Mm-hmm. What advice do you have to all the sports journalists out there?
Keep writing. Know your craft. Know your sport. Get better. Be confident. No stories are alike, because every game is different, and have fun what you do. If you have fun with sports journalism, mm-hmm. or any kind of journalism, you enjoy reporting, giving insight to the people that aren't there physically, you really enjoy it, then just live in it. I'm coming out of retirement. I hadn't written story. Well, I wrote stories for the Amsterdam News, which I work with now. So I'm coming off the bench, and I'm gonna start going back to the Garden to cover the Knicks in person, and that's gonna be fun. I haven't done it since before the pandemic, so it's gonna be quite the experience. I think I go. My first game is Friday, the Knicks versus the Celtics. So I'll be going back into the sports saddle, and it's a good thing. I was honored when they asked me, and I'm blessed to do it.
Do you ever have time to read, by the way? And if so, what do you like to read?
I read self-help books. I don't read books in my genre because I don't want to see anything remotely close to mine. Nothing. Not even a word. So I want to think that when I flush things out of my spirit, my system, because I wrote it, I see it. And the reason why I chose that route, leadership books, self-help books, is because my books are predicated toward social and emotional learning. even though that's not what we knew back then. But my premise was to do something positive. When people read about my characters, they'll be inspired by them. So that being said, I try to read a lot of things that give me the firepower that I need as a leader, inspirer, educator, different things of that nature, so I can put into my characters. And also blesses me too. I mean, I do it for my own edification. But when I'm able to take that which I've learned by some of the great writers out there, or great storytellers about leadership and different things of that nature, I'm able to put it into a character, and we sort of all win. You know, the person who wrote the book, I win, and then the kids who will read it, who will read my stories. So we all kind of feed off each other, and it's some sort of a isosceles triangle type way if you want to go. But yeah, but we all sort of benefit. But those are kind of books that I read a lot. Of course, I mean, I'm a Bible reader. I mean, I read the Bible 3 times, cover to cover. And actually, I did 2 in the book, and then 1 I did book and video. Well, we read the Bible on video, so I was able to read that way. But I did it 3 times. That was a lot. But I love reading stuff that's gonna help people's lives. Though, to be honest with you, whether it's an article, book, I love YouTube stuff that's feeding the mind and do things. I love that. I sometimes I know you have to go, but sometimes I don't watch any TV. But sometimes I'll come home and go on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You just go video. And it could be some of the best games on TV, back to back, and I'll miss them all. I'll watch the highlights. Or I'll go on YouTube, watch the highlights. But if my mind is thirsty, if my heart is thirsty for knowledge, YouTube, books, whatever, and reading stuff. And it's amazing that I can do that. I can just say, shut everything off, and do it because I'm interested in it. So that keeps my interest. And then again, LeBron could be playing. Steph could be playing. I catch the highlights.
That's very inspiring.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for what you do. And thank you to all the viewers and listeners. Until next time, so booking cool.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.